Pat, welcome to Pacific Praise. Thanks for giving up your time. We know you're a busy man and you're a musician at heart, but before we get into that side of your life, can you tell us where did you grow up and what was that like?
Yes. I'm a West Auckland born and bred and grew up in a Pacific Island Church, Samoan Church, Glenhaven Presbyterian, Pacific Island Church, Glenhaven PIC. So my upbringing was there. Went to school out west and former Custom boy as well. I was just a typical Samoan boy who grew up in the church. Family was always involved, and our community wasn't just at school, but it was also in church. And a lot of the boys that we grew up with, we were all friends at school as well. We all attended the same school, and so it was a tight-knit community growing up back then. And my family are still there. My parents and my sister are still active at Glenhaven PIC, and obviously now me and my little family, we attend Life in Mount Eden. And it's been a journey, but when you look back, you can just acknowledge how faithful God is through it all.
Was that easy for you to maintain your faith while you were growing up in West Auckland?
Growing up, we were never a rich family. I always used to think that we were a poor family. We didn't have much at all, and I always share a story about we were so poor that I had a grey T-shirt, and to try and fit in, I actually drew the Nike sign on that T-shirt. And so I thought, man, we didn't have much at all, but one thing we did have was love. And love was amazing in our family, and because of that, and because of the involvement in church, and we weren't, like, our parents weren't really strict in pushing us to church and then eventually putting us off church. It was always available to us to attend, and because we grew up in that environment, it just kind of led to where we all are now. And one of the greatest things as well, bro, is that my dad is a praying dad. And so every morning, without a miss, he's always praying for us. And because I grew up around that, and I saw that at home, that's now part of my life, to be a praying father and husband, and in our own family as well. So, growing up out west didn't really get involved too much with gangs or anything like that, and I think I was a goody two-shoe, but I guess I'm glad I was.
Your father sounds like someone he knows his stuff about his God, and you said that you role model your life off him. Where did he learn, or where was he taught?
Good question. He had a bit of a turnaround in his own life. Back when we were growing up in 93, my dad went into hospital because he had, and you never forget this when you're a kid, the doctor said it was pericardectomy, and that just means membrane around the heart, and a lot of that was due to his poor health, and that was, he was a bit of an alcoholic growing up as well. And that's kind of how I viewed alcohol when I was a kid. I thought, man, if that's how alcohol treats you, then I don't want anything to do with it. But after his operation, he came out of it successfully. And after that, he went on and became a lay preacher, and just started getting involved in church. And that was kind of the turnaround point for him. And from that point on, obviously, he stopped drinking, and our lives never got easier because he couldn't work after that, and he didn't work after that. Actually, they became cleaners at Cowston Girls Primary, and so from that turnaround point, that was kind of where I thought, man, if this guy can go from a drinking every weekend guy to preaching on the pulpit, then, man, there definitely is a God.
What was it like to experience that transition of your dad, or your family environment?
So when Dad, after his operation, life for us became a little bit better, so we never saw alcohol around our family home as much as we did growing up, and we just all started getting into church and getting involved in youth and becoming leaders, and and I think having great friends was key to it as well. Like, man, we grew up around some pretty amazing boys and girls that were faith-filled and just really hungry for God as well. And even going on to university, like some of us became a part of what was known as Pacific Students for Christ.